Quality is job one. It's working. By Imperial Oil and Esso Associates, proud to be one of the leading sponsors of youth hockey in Canada. And by Pepsi. Gotta have it.
Late April in Vancouver, and the home team's gearing up for a run in the playoffs that could start with a victory in the Smythe semifinal and will if the Canucks beat the Jets in Game 5 tonight. We're 10 days into this Stanley Cup tournament, and 3 of 8 first-round series already over. The other 2 in this conference, Toronto, Detroit, and Calgary, Los Angeles, cannot end tonight because they were tied at 2 heading into Game 5 this evening. Let's update you at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. The Wings got the lead with Gerard Gallant behind the Leafs defense. He put a rolling puck past Felix Potvin. A few minutes later, on just their second shot of the game, the Leafs scored. Dave Andreychuk finished the 2-on-1 with a hard wrist shot. Andreychuk, a 50-goal scorer during the season, had his 5th of the playoffs. The Wings took the lead on a 3-on-3 rush after this. Paul Yzerbark fooled the Leafs with a drop pass to Sergei Fedorov, and he put it by Potvin. This with 2 minutes to go in the period. Wings led by 1. They were on the power play 2.5 minutes into the second. Puck loose off the draw, went to Ray Shepherd, who had most of Potvin's net to give Detroit a 3-1 lead. 4 minutes later, it looked like the rout was on. Fedorov fed Dino Ciccarelli, who was behind the Leafs defense. Ciccarelli's first of the playoffs for a 4-1 Wings lead. But then Toronto started to climb back. Keith Primo leveled Rob Pearson behind the net. Dave Ellett scored. Leafs were within 2. There were 3 minutes to go in the second period when Ellett brought the Leafs to within 1. Looked like he was just trying to put it on the net, but it went past Cheveldae, and it was 4-3. 8 minutes to go in regulation time. Wendell Clark's shot went in off Yves Racine's head. Game tied at 4. And so extra time required to decide who takes a 3-2 series lead. They're in overtime at Joe Louis. We understand the Leafs have just scored. We'll get the winning goal for you in just a moment. So Toronto takes a 3-2 series lead. At the Saddledome in Calgary, Kings and Flames down to a best of 3. The collective scoring slump of the Los Angeles Stars ended when Jimmy Carson fed Thomas Sandstrom on a 2-on-1. Kings had the lead, and that was one of about 4 good chances Kings had to that point in the game. With 5.5 minutes to go in the period, the Kings went up 2-0. Mike Donnelly in alone on Jeff Reese for his second of the playoffs. Started looking worse for the Flames when Pat Conacher took a quick pass in front of Reese and scored on a low shot. 3-0 Los Angeles. Heading into this game, the Kings didn't have a goal from any of their big guns. Gretzky, Sandstrom, Granato, Robitaille, or Curry. Sandstrom scores tonight. The others have yet to be heard from. Someone will take a 3-2 series lead tonight. It will be the Kings if the Flames can't come from behind. Now, the winning goal from Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. Early in overtime, Mike Foligno for the Leafs. Leafs at one point in this game trailed 4-1, battled back to tie it at 4 to force the extra time. This had been a home ice series until this point when Foligno gave the Leafs the win at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit tonight. And so Toronto, in something of an upset, takes a 3-2 series lead on a 5-4 overtime win tonight. Now let's send you ringside for action in this game. Here are Steve Armitage and John Garrett.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. We're moments away from the beginning of Game 5 here at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. Bob Essenza once again gets the starting goal for the Winnipeg Jets. His record now 1-3 in the playoffs, has a goals against average of 3.13. At the other end, Kirk McLean, John Garrett's first star in Game 4. His record the exact opposite of Essenza, 3-1 with a goals against average of 2.51. The referee for tonight's game, Bill McCreary, the linesman Ron Esseltine, and Ray Scampanello. Game 5 is underway here at the Pacific Coliseum. The Canucks shoot it in. Sergei Bowden goes back for the Winnipeg Jets, plays it up on the boards to Kachuk. He can't get to it. Jyrki Lume has it for Vancouver and dumps it in. Essenza leaves it for Sergei Bowden. 6'3", 210 pounds, a big defenseman. Kachuk at center ice for the Winnipeg Jets. Kachuk taking a shot high and wide. Hunter to Merzen behind his own goal.
Some line changes right away for John Paddock. Teemu Selanne playing with Thomas Steen and Keith Kachuk, getting away from Alexei Zhamnov, who has really struggled.
Gary Vaughn dumps it in, and the Canucks make a line change. Shot off the glass by Essenza. Diddick keeps it in. Semenoff with his shot. Jets can't clear Diddick lays it off the boards and into the Winnipeg zone. Opening minute of Game 5 here at the Pacific Coliseum. Jets are on the brink of elimination. Shot into the Canucks zone. Shannon chasing after it. Leaves it. Shot. McLean save off the Eagles. Another shot from well off. It's wide of the mark. This is Linden, the Canucks captain, loses it to Shannon. Shannon fires it around the boards. McLean has to play it. Knocks it back into the corner. Shannon there for Winnipeg. Trevor Linden to Jeff Portnoy. And it's broken up neatly by Shannon as he skates off. And the Winnipeg Jets make a change. 18:16 to play. First period, no score. This is Portnoy. Couldn't quite get to it to do any damage. Ulanov dumps it in.
Igor Ulanov now playing forward for John Paddock along with Alexei Zhamnov and Ty Domi.
The shot from Ulanov that's wide. Ulanov recovers his center ice. Boughton across to Phil Housley. This is Zhamnov. Murray Craven plays it to Greg Adams. Jets keep it in. Shot from Ty Domi, and McLean comes up with the save.
Kirk McLean with the save as the Winnipeg Jets just firing everything at the net. John Paddock felt they weren't shooting enough. And we look at the Jets forward. There's been some changes, obviously. John Paddock has to try something to shake up his offense. Zhamnov not playing with Solani anymore. Thomas Steen is there. Igor Ulanov up front to give them some size. The defense stays the same. Ulanov 6'3", 205 pounds. That gives them a little more size up front. The surprise scratch in that group is Jenny Davidov, who has done nothing during the series, sits and watches from the press box.
Face-off in the Canucks zone. They win the draw. Shot blocked in front. Craven can't get to it. Adams does. Plays it for Lidster. Lidster dumps it in down the left side. Dumina tried to find King with a pass. Knocked into the Jet zone. Mike Lawler skates behind his own goal. Lawler trying to find John Bruce. Play on the end boards. Now Lidster skates in, picks up the loose puck, gets it ahead to Murray Craven, and we're going to get our first penalty of the game.
Good forechecking by the Winnipeg Jets creates this penalty, and it's a Vancouver holding penalty. Bill McCreary let the first one go and then called Greg Adams on the second one.
So the Winnipeg power play unit will go to work.
Minutes for holding. The time 3:05.
Now here's Adams in the corner, and you see McCreary hasn't got his arm up yet. But as the Jets keep forcing, good forechecking. Now look at Adams. He's got him pinned, and then finally brings him down, and up goes the arm. And the Winnipeg Jets have a power play opportunity. And when you're not scoring goals and the Jets aren't scoring goals, you have to count on your special teams. You see 4 out of 16 for the power play. And to get ahead, first goal in every game is won. And the Jets would love to have a lead here at the Coliseum.
And John Paddock decides to go with Tkachuk, Steen, and Teemu Solani up front. Frederick Olsson and Phil Housley are the point men for this penalty situation. Trevor Linden gets it to Gary Vaughn, and he scoops it down the ice for the Vancouver Canucks. 16:46 to play, opening period. No score. Game 5. Canucks and Jets. Housley gets the shot away, easy save for McLean. Vaughn. And it's cleared down the ice by Yuki Lume.
The Canucks will give up that shot every time as long as Kirk McLean can see it. The way he's played in this series, he might have let in maybe one bad goal in Game 3. The other one, all quality shots. He hasn't let in the bad goal and was the difference in Game 4. Offside called against the Winnipeg Jets, and the Canucks are complaining, trying to say, well, none of the Jets touched it. And that's the prerogative of the linesman to make that call. Ron Asseltine saying, well, okay, they're offside. And the Vancouver Vancouver Canucks lines going with success, staying the same as Murray Craven played on that line with Hunter and Gary Volk in the last game. Dixon Ward's there now, and Volk is playing with Nedved and Momesso, although Volk was up there in the first shift with Craven. The defense stays the same. Pat Quinn shortened his bench in Game 4. Only used 4 defensemen in the third period. Scratches Yuri Slater out, Robert Dirk back in.
And once again, the Canucks are able to clear. 1:10 remaining in the penalty to Greg Adams as Phil Housley leads the power play for the Jets. Teppo Numminen, shot behind. Michael Perry clears in front. Semenov gets it behind Housley and the length of the ice. Shamrock starts things out for the Winnipeg Jets. Solani pulled down by Lume. Solani back to the point to Teppo Numminen. Phil Housley one-times it. High. Solani trying to get it back to Teppo Numminen.
Good pressure by Dana Merson to force that bad pass by Teemu Solani. Robert Dirk talked about it when he sat out last game, not giving Solani any space to operate. And there we saw Merson right on Solani.
Back to the point, Phil Housley plays it to Teppo Numminen. Numminen's shot kicked aside by Kirk McGraw. Dave Babbage kept in by Housley. Housley's shot. This is Greg Adams. The penalty is over. Teams at even strength. Gary Volk with a shot, and Essenza goes down to cover up with his pads. 14:40 to play, opening period, in a scoreless tie on a beautiful night in Vancouver.
Take a moment to compare the 93 Ford Taurus GL sedan and wagon to the imports. The Taurus comes well equipped with over 24 standard features, including air, power windows, and available anti-lock brakes. You'll also discover not just one, but 2 airbags. The price? Thousands less than the imports. Wagon or sedan, just $19,995. No wonder Taurus is the best-selling car in North America.
Quality is job one. It's working.
I'm feeling empty. I'm feeling blue. I know it's over. And I know it's through. Man, now that's the blues.
Next time you want to die of Pepsi, Ray, all you got to do is ask.
Now that's the right one, baby.
Gary Volk with the shot, and a good save by Essenza. Look at where he is, top of the crease, good angle, and he controls the rebound. I'd like to let some defensemen play goal sometime when they back in and let the guy shoot it from right in the middle, and then they look around and say, oh yeah, that was an easy save.
Spoken like a former goaltender, which you were, for the Vancouver Canucks, Hartford Whalers.
You don't want to start mentioning all those teams, do you?
We don't have enough
Quebec
time.
Nordic. Yeah,
We don't have enough time. Face-off in the Jets zone, taken by Chris King. King plays it off the board. Robert Dirk played it ahead, but the Jets have control. Olofsson runs into heavy traffic at the blue line. Canucks come away. Shot by Dixon Ward from well out. Doug Lidster into Sergio Momesso. Lidster plays it in on the right side. Essenza comes out of control. Freddie Olofsson being watched by Momesso. Eagles runs into Dixon Ward. Momesso fighting for it on the end boards. Ward to Peter Nedved, turns and shoots wide. Dixon Ward has it for the Canucks. Ward, backhander. Essenza makes the save. Momesso, good pressure from Vancouver. Teams at even strength. Shot down the ice. Lidster is there. Lidster dumps it in right side. Nedved giving chase. Linden trailing on the fly. And then Lume shoots it in, and we're going to get a penalty.
And it's Trevor Linden who's going to get it, and Linden set the pace early with some good hits. And here he's going to the box. as Bill McCrary sensed this one was getting a little too rambunctious for his liking. Now watch Trevor Linden right there with the left elbow right under the chin of Igor Ulanov. And the Jets get their second power play opportunity of this first period.
And once again, John Paddock has the big line of Keith Tkachuk, Thomas Steen, and Teemu Selanne up front for Winnipeg. Housley and Teppo Numminen on the points.
Teppo Numminen instead of Fredrik Olofsson. It's usually Fredrik Olofsson on the point, and he has struggled during this playoff series. And for the Winnipeg Jets to be successful, you look at some key players: Selanne, Jamnov, Olofsson, Numminen, and Housley.
Lume, Semenoff, Bure, and Dana Merzen will try to kill off the penalty for the Vancouver Canucks. 13-19 remaining opening period. Still looking for that all-important first goal. The team that has scored first in every game has gone on to win it. This is Housley. Just turned aside by McLean. Selanne to Tkachuk. Jets controlling. Selanne back to Teppo Numminen. Back to Selanne. Selanne being watched by Lume. Lume wins that battle. Unable to clear. Housley keeps it in. Fires it towards the net. Selanne for the Jets. Back to Numminen. Selanne tried to find a man with a pass. It was broken up and then backhanded into the stands by Jyrki Lume. Now to Scott Oak and an update.
Steve, the second period in Calgary. Luc Robitaille had hurt the Kings with penalties in Game 3. Helped them here to a 4-0 lead. Robitaille, 63 goals in the season, finally has his first of the playoffs. The Kings are in control in Calgary, bidding for a 3-2 series lead.
And you wonder if Mike Vernon was healthy enough to play, and Coach Dave King just decided to go with Reese, who had played very well in Los Angeles, or whether Vernon couldn't play tonight. I know there'll be lots of questions about that if the score continues to pile up.
1:05 remaining in the power play for the Winnipeg Jets. And that's Jamnov playing without a helmet. Shannon to Jamnov. Back to Fredrik Olofsson. Across to Housley. Olofsson. Back to Jamnov. Olofsson shot. They score!
Darren Shannon in front with Gerald Diddick, and Darren Shannon got a stick on that one. Fredrik Olofsson, we said Fredrik Olofsson and Housley on the point. They feed Olofsson, and Olofsson lets it go. And watch Shannon in front. Gerald Diddick gets position here, but watch Shannon sneak in front of Diddick and then get the stick on and tip it by Kirk McLean. Right-hand shot, Olofsson, perfect pass from Jamnov, and there's the tip in. No chance for Kirk McLean.
A big goal for the Winnipeg Jets as they strike first.
Now look at Shannon in front. Control of his stick. And Diddick had him pretty well tied up, but didn't have that stick tied up. And Shannon gets it by Kirk McLean.
And that's the first goal of the playoffs for Darren Shannon. Came into this game with 4 assists, but what a big goal it is. As we mentioned, the team that has scored first in each game has gone on to win the contest. 12:06 to play, opening period. Jets on top of Vancouver, 1-0. Domi tried to find somebody in the middle. Dirk takes Eagles into the boards. Lidster. Head to Ward. Olofsson now for the Winnipeg Jets. Loses it and then gets it back. That was a big turnover there for the Vancouver Canucks. Ty Domi at the blue line. Runs into Robert Dirk. Dumped in by Lidster. And Bill McCrary has his arm up. Penalty coming up to the Winnipeg Jets, their first of the game. So when we come back, the Vancouver Canucks will have the man advantage, trailing 1-0.
My staff is very good.
No getting around it. Service is definitely a hands-on business. That is my job, to provide that personal touch.
I think our customers appreciate the good service we give them.
At Esso, we're dedicated to getting you on your way with fast, friendly service.
Esso has standards, and I have standards.
And the Esso card with valuable Esso rewards gives our customers great service.
this new guy with the mulching mower.
We must protect the image of our community.
Why can't he get a Toro recycler law more like the rest of us?
His mulcher's not the same. It doesn't work like this Toro recycle.
It can leave clumps and tall grass. It's an eyesore.
I've seen this happen over in Oakdale last year.
I'm calling my realtor.
It's him.
Check the yellow pages for the Toro dealer nearest you.
Ty Domi takes a high sticking penalty on Doug Lidster. That's not the play. It's when they're coming back. Now watch Domi hook Lidster right here. Over the shoulder and around the neck. And that's where Bill McCrary called it high sticking. The Canuck power play has been one of their sore spots in this series.
And the power play starts in the Jet zone. This is Greg Adams. Being watched by Kennedy to Bure. Craven back to Bure. Bure trying to find some space. Gets it to Adams, side of the net, back to Bure. Bure cross ice to Craven. Shot from Babbage. Adams is there, but he couldn't drive it behind Essenza. Kennedy comes out with it for the Winnipeg Jets. Babbage for the Canucks. At his own blue line. Babbage shoots it in, left side. Shannon around the boards and down the ice.
Canucks power play 2 for 20 in the series, and one of those two came when they had a long two-man advantage. It has been one problem area. They put Gary Slager in the lineup, tried to get it going. They just can't seem to get much pressure with the man advantage.
56 seconds remaining in the man advantage for the Vancouver Canucks. Bure couldn't find anybody. And again, it's cleared, this time by Luciano Bussetto. Babbage starts things out for Vancouver. 37 seconds remaining in the man advantage. Eagles. And again, it's cleared by the Jets.
And the Canucks make a change, but when the puck's going back into your own zone with only 30 seconds left, it's hard to get new players on the ice and mount any kind of attack.
This is Portnoy working down the right side. Lume. Lume. Shot! Save! Essenza! Portnoy! And again, Essenza was in the right place. Clip running. Back to Lidster. Lume, one time. Off the boards. Right to Courtnall. Teams at even strength now. Courtnall winds up, fires wide. Lidster tries to keep it in, can't against Ty Domi, who's back on for the Jets. Lume fires it in. Cliff Ronning passes in front, no one there, and the Jets clear.
Jets very slack going back. That would have been an icing call, and Sergei Bowden just loafed back, and Ronning got there first.
Courtnall leaves it for Dixon Ward. Playing in only his second playoff game. Pass for Derek, and he fires it right! Essenza puts it in! We're tied at
1. Now watch Bob Essenza play this one off the glass. Gerald Dinnick's shot goes over the net and off the glass, but watch Essenza. He tries to bat it with the stick right there, and he bats it in his own net. Bad hop for the Jets, and Bob Essenza. Here comes the shot. Now watch Essenza. Tries to get it with a stick.
Scored by
and
number
knocks it in his own
4,
net.
Gerald Dinnick.
1. You talk about a goaltender liking to have one back. That would be a classic example there. I'm sure that Essenza would have played that far differently than he did. Gerald Dinnick's first of the playoffs. Ward and Courtnall assisting on the Dinnick goal, and coming at 11:10 of the opening period. We are tied at 1. Housley off the boards, looking for Tkachuk. Lume touches it, and the Winnipeg Jets are called for icing. A 1-1 tie here at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver.
I use pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage. Why?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
Take a moment to compare the 93 Ford Taurus GL sedan and wagon to the imports. Taurus comes well equipped with over 24 standard features, including air, power windows, and available anti-lock brakes. You'll also discover not just one, but 2 airbags. The price? Thousands less than the imports. Wagon or sedan, just $19,995. No wonder Taurus is the best-selling car in North America.
Quality is job one. It's working.
A salute to Louis, one of the first guys to come down from the trees and start walking. A momentous step in evolution. Among other things, this meant that eventually guys could get up from their chair and go to the fridge for a Molson Special Dry without having to walk on all fours. The evolution of beer.
Gerald Ditta gets his first of the playoff series, and watch this come off the boards, and look at Bob Essensa. He wants to play it into the corner. You can see from the turn of his stick, but he took it off the paddle and put it over his shoulder and in.
Well, face-off in the Jets zone with 8:20 remaining to play, opening period, and a 1-1 tie. Canucks lead the series 3-1. Peter Nedved plays it to the corner, and then the Jets are able to clear. This is Robert Dirk, who didn't play in Game 4 out with a hip injury. He fires it in. It was called on the offside.
We did find out that was a hip injury. Robert Dirk wouldn't tell anybody what it was after the game even. He had sore ribs, missed a 3-week period during the regular season. Some people speculated it might be a shoulder injury and then maybe a hip injury. As Ty Domi comes to the bench, the clock is cheering the fans to cheer here, and the fans are getting louder at the Pacific Coliseum.
They call it white noise at the arena in Winnipeg. Here tonight is being billed as towel power in combination with black thunder. This is Momesso. Quick shot wide of the mark. Dirk into the corner. Dixon Ward unable to get it, and the Jets come away with it. King can't handle that pass. Lidster just knocks it back into the Jets zone. Dean Kennedy, the Jets captain, fires up the middle looking for Stu Barnes. Dirk fires it back in. Good bounce off the boards right to Essens. And then it's cleared down the length of the ice. Dirk races back to touch it. And the Winnipeg Jets are called for icing. Now down to Scott Oak and an update.
Steve in Calgary, Robitaille and Gretzky suddenly on fire for the Kings. Gretzky assisted on Robitaille's first goal. Here went 2-on-1 with him. Robitaille scores his second of the game. 5-0 Kings at the Saddle Dome, and this looks like an unconditional surrender by the Flames.
Especially at the Saddle Dome, the Flames played pretty well. Even the game they lost in Los Angeles, lots of pressure on Rob Stauber. Stauber back in net for the Kings, and it looks like it's all Kings in Calgary.
It's the kind of performance the Winnipeg Jets would like on the road here at the Pacific Coliseum tonight to stay alive. We are tied at 1. 7:27 remaining to play, opening period. Semenov keeps it in. Murray Craven against Sergei Boutin. Craven in front.
Turnovers. Here's the turnover, and Murray Craven with a great pass to Pavel Bure. But it's a Jets turnover. Look at Sergei Boutin. He's bumped off the puck by Murray Craven. And then Craven with a good backhand pass to Bure. Phil Housley's in the corner. Both defensemen in the same corner.
Vancouver goal.
And there's Bure all by himself.
Of the playoffs. Scored by number 10, Pavel Bure. The assist to number 32, Murray Craven.
Pass in front. And Greg Adams couldn't get a stick on it. Only one assist on the goal. That to Murray Craven. Pavel Bure's fourth. of the playoff season as the Canucks go in front 2-1. Shannon pass in front. Housley got a stick in it. A wraparound attempt, and McLean is there to block it. Burry comes up with a rebound. Ahead to Adams. 3-on-2. Burry tried to play it back between his skates. Couldn't. And the Jets come back. Teemu Selanne. Backhand pass in front and cleared by Ronnie. This is Pavel Bure, one-on-one against Teppo Numminen. Pass to Ronning. Ronning tries to jam it past Essenza, and Essenza comes up with a big save.
And Alexei Zhamnov is getting a tripping penalty after the play as Ronning went in all by himself, and Bob Essenza made the save. Here's a 2-on-1. Nice pass, Bure to Ronning right here, and it sets Ronning in. And watch Bob Essenza make the save right here. Stacks the pads. Zhamnov tripped Greg Adams at the blue line as it would have been a 3-on-1. And Zhamnov gets a tripping penalty.
And the Vancouver Canucks send out the line of Courtnall, Ronning, and Dixon Ward. Lister and Babbage will work the points. Ronning gets it back to Babbage. Ronning along the side boards. Comes into the corner. Teppo Numminen. Eagles. Off the glass, but not out. Lister able to keep it in. Courtnall backhands it to Ronning. To Dixon Ward. Courtnall tried the one-timer, missed. Lister to Ronning. Ronning tied up by Teppo Numminen. Can't clear it, but he gets some support from Eagles, and that's knocked down the ice.
If the Jets could play with the same kind of defensive intensity at full strength as they do at short-handed strength, they'd be a lot better off.
1:03 remaining in the minor to Zhamnov. Clearest shot there is blocked. Ronning has it for the Canucks in the Jet zone. Shannon pulled down by Ronning. Ronning puts up his arms as if to say, not me. Jyrki Lumme. Neatly knocked away by Mike Lawler. 40 seconds remaining in the Canucks power play. This is Trevor Linden. Can't control a bouncing puck, and he takes himself in offside.
And Trevor Linden's complaining, but Greg Adams was in down the other side ahead of Linden as Linden had problems with it. Rolling puck. Here's the series in review. The Vancouver Canucks score 2. Could have been a lot higher in Game 1 as the Canucks really outplayed the Jets. In Game 2, 3-2, Pavel Bure snuck away on a face-off to get the winner. The Jets had a commanding lead and then hung on for the 5-4 win, and Kirk McLean took over in Game 4, and Kirk hasn't really had to do too much here in the first period, as after that fluky goal, it's been all Vancouver.
4:51 to play opening period. Canucks leading 2-1. Go-ahead goal from Pavel Bure, his 4th of the playoffs. Lawler being watched in the corner. Manages to get it out. This is Eagles, and a nifty defensive play by Jyrki Lumme. Head to Linden, 3-on-2. Adams tries to get the pass back to Linden, but it's high. Bure digging for it. Bure gets it. 2 seconds remaining in the man advantage. Jyrki Lumme, Pavel Bure one time, and Essenza was able to see that from the moment it left Bure's stick and pull it out of the air. 4:15 remaining to play opening period. Canucks on top of the Jets, 2-1.
We could take this into a paint program and we could put mustaches on everybody. I never used to tell people I work for IBM. It probably would have shocked them. Everybody make a monkey noise. I I love what I do. I really do. I work with kids and teachers in at least 50 schools. It's a lot of travel.
I'm from Dr. Stinson.
We still make computers, but we're really a services company, and we really are trying to put the customer first.
If you thought Banana George Blair had found the fountain of youth,
I'm 77 and still barefooting.
You'd be half right, because the one he's found is actually for his car. With a little Armor All Protectant, George restores the beauty of his dashboard and seats, and in minutes it helps protect his tires from fading and aging.
It keeps my car looking almost as good as me.
There is a fountain of youth, and we own the patent. Armor All.
I hope my teeth don't fall out.
Welcome back to the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. Steve Armitage along with John Garrett in the booth. Scott Oak is in the intermission studio. The face-off in the Jet zone. Diddick slides it into the corner. Semenov tried to get to it but couldn't. Kachuk has it for the Jets. Diddick takes it in over the blue line. Tries to find Gary Vaughn with a pass. Vaughn being worked over by Sergei Boutin. Housley for the Jets. Ahead to Thomas Steen into his skates. And Vaughn gets it, plays it to Semenov. Back to Vaughn. Vaughn with a quick shot off the skate of Housley. Thomas Steen on the boards. Vaughn has it for Vancouver. Plays it back to the point. Babbage with the shot. Not intended to go on the net, just simply into the corner. Semenov against Bout. A couple of Russians. Shot on net. Essenza turns it aside. Babbage off the glass, takes a funny hop. Played behind the Winnipeg goal. Sergei Boutin. Semenov goes down, and we're going to get a penalty to Phil Housley of the Winnipeg Jets for tripping. That will not please his head coach, John Paddock.
Phil Housley let his stick go as Semenov was all tied up. I don't know whether he's going to call it tripping or interference. Either way, Phil Housley goes to the penalty box, and the Vancouver Canucks have another power play. They call it hooking. Now watch right there. Housley catches Semenov's arm, lets it go, and gets the hooking penalty. He gave Semenov the opportunity by getting the stick on his arm, and Semenov took that opportunity and drew the penalty.
One of those cases where it could have been any one of the three. Hooking, tripping, or interference. They settle on hooking. All that means is that Vancouver will have the man advantage for the next 2 minutes with Housley off. 3:17 to play. Opening period. Canucks leading Winnipeg 2-1. Vancouver lead the series 3-1. And a win here tonight, and it's all over for the Winnipeg Jets.
And it's hard to play catch-up when you're playing a man short all the time. The Jets 6 minutes short out of the last 12 minutes.
Linden working this face-off against Mike Eagles.
Ray Scampanello, the veteran linesman, he's not going to fool around. He gets both centermen out. In comes Murray Craven and Alexei Zhamnov.
Well, this time it works. Linden to Babbage. Babbage with a shot. Traffic in front. He scores!
I don't know whether it's Murray Craven or Trevor Linden, but Dave Babbage does a good job with his shot from the point. Right along the ice, looking for the tip-in. And traffic in front of Bob Essenson. Now watch Babbage. Good low shot. He's hoping for the tip-in. There's Greg Adams. There's Trevor Linden. There's Murray Craven. And I think it's Trevor Linden reaching around behind who gets it. Bob Essenson can't find it. And that might be Greg Adams' goal, as I don't think Trevor Linden got to it either.
It's one of those where we're going to have to wait for the official announcement. But the Canucks now lead by 2 with a power play goal as they do some repair to the ice just outside the Canucks blue line.
Scored on the power play by number 8, Greg
There's
Adams.
Greg Adams going to the net. And watch Adams spin around and look at the puck. It goes through Bob Essenson into the net.
Trevor Linden and Dave Babbage get the assists on the third third goal of the playoffs for Greg Adams, his 5th point of the second season. A big 2-goal margin now for the Vancouver Canucks.
3rd goal for Greg Adams, and you think of all the chances he's had during this series, he could have about 6.
Now down to Scott Oak and an update.
Steve, could the Flames be on their way back in Calgary? They trailed 5-0. Nieuwendyk scored, and here Frank Musil got his first of the series. A furious scramble around Rob Stauber. Musil's shot found its way through. 5-2 Kings with about 5 minutes to go in the second period.
And here at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver, it's a 2-goal lead for the Canucks, 3-1 over the Jets with 2:50 remaining to play in the opening period.
The way LA plays defense, you never know if that 5-0 lead is big enough.
Lidster with a shot from well out. Essenza got a piece of it. But Essenza is taking a pounding in front. Seems like every time we turn around, Essenza is down and out for the count.
The shots were 5-5 at one time, now 12-5 in favor of the Vancouver Canucks.
Starting out for the Jets. Ahead to Stu Barnes. Barnes goes left. Fires high into the center. No Jet able to get to it. And the Canucks are able to clear. Teams at even strength. 2:04 remaining to play. First period here at the Pacific Coliseum. Jyrki Lumme. Rink wide to Bach. He loses it. Teppo Numminen for the Winnipeg Jets. Plays it in the middle to Thomas Steen. Steen tried to find Teemu Selanne with a pass. Picked off by Lumme. Steen knocks it down. Pass ahead to Anatoly Semenov, and he backhands it into the Jet zone. Mike Lawler behind his own net. Being watched by Team Hunter. Lawler still has it. Ahead to Alexei Zhamnov. Zhamnov working against Dana Merzen. Merzen with a good play to knock the puck loose. Jyrki Lumme. Ahead to Gary Bach. 2-on-2. Has Hunter on his right. Elects to shoot. And it winds up in the stands. Coming up in our first period intermission tonight, as always, the coach, Don Cherry, will be in the coach's corner. As always, Cherry will have some interesting remarks. Be talking about the possibility of the Edmonton Oilers move to Hamilton. Cherry will have some thoughts on that. Don Cherry at Coach's Corner. Coming up in our first period intermission tonight.
Steve, you'll like this. So many Europeans involved in hockey now. There's Yuri Slager and Peter Nedved. They've got Sergio Momesso and Jeff Courtnall trying to teach them a few things about, as they would say, real football. And watch Slager handle it, and then look at Courtnall and Momesso. Not quite in the same league.
I don't know. Courtnall was doing a pretty good job there, but Nedved and Yuri Slager is certainly at home with a soccer ball. Of course, many of the European teams train with nothing but pucks and a skate and knock the puck around just like they would a soccer ball. Canucks lead the Jets 3-1 as we get set to start the second period. Of course, the Canucks have a 3-1 series lead and would like to wrap it up tonight and get some days off before they begin the Smythe Division final against either Calgary or Los Angeles. Of course, that is presuming that they continue this pace against the Winnipeg Jets, who, no doubt about it, have their backs to the wall. Housley tried to dump it in. Selanne was there, deflected to Domi. Domi shooting from a sharp angle. Canucks able to clear. This is Gary Vaughn to Semenov. Semenov tried to pass in front, goes off with Housley. Semenov got it back and then fired it over the head of Essenza. Semenov unable to keep it in. Plays it to Jyrki Lumme. Opening seconds of the second period. Vancouver leading Winnipeg 3-1. Bach working against Housley. Zhamnov intercepted by Semenov. Semenov tried to get it to Bach, but Zhamnov was able to capitalize on his own mistake.
And again, the Winnipeg Jets, that cross-ice pass in their own zone. In games 1 and 2, it cost them dearly here in Vancouver. They've tried it again tonight. Teemu Solani really had a tough first period. He was out there for 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Pavel Bure just over 8 minutes. Solani never had a shot on goal and didn't look effective at all. And for the Jets to get going, they have to get some production out of Solani and Jamnov. And Jamnov in his own zone. Now watch this. In the corner of the rink, tries to go rink wide, right through the middle. Semenov's there, knocks it down, but can't get the shot away. Tries to set up Gary Volk instead. You know, you talk about Jamnov, and the reason we expect so much, he had points in 14 of his last 15 games, 25 points in those 15 games. You expected him to do something in the playoffs.
Trevor Linden's shot, not wide by much. Courtnall was at the corner of the crease, but unable to do anything with it. This is John Druce. His pass intercepted by Ronning, and then Ronning gave it away to Newman, and then it's knocked in by Steen. This is Babbage starting out for Vancouver at his own blue line. Babbage dumps it into the right side. John Druce, remember that great playoff year he had for the Washington Capitals. Almost beat the Rangers single-handedly. Trevor Linden. Lays it up along the boards for Cliff Ronning. Ronning tries to get it to Courtnall. Lawler beats him to it. Another giveaway. Courtnall. Ulanov tried to deflect it back to his defenseman, but almost gave it to Courtnall.
And you can forgive Igor Ulanov playing forward for the first time tonight. And Ulanov, watch this. Ulanov tries to tip it, and he tips it by Teppo Numminen, but the Canucks can't convert on the giveaway.
17:57 remaining to play second period. Canucks in front 3-1.
And the fans, they don't know what to do when they announce the Calgary-LA score. They don't know who they'd prefer to play in the next round should they get by the Winnipeg Jets. There's been a pretty good rivalry between Vancouver and Calgary. There's a lot of emotion every time those two teams play, although Calgary had great success against Vancouver this year. And looking at it that way, I think the Canucks might prefer to play Los Angeles.
Vancouver wound up the season with a couple of impressive wins over Wayne Gretzky and company, both here at the Coliseum and down at the Great Western Forum. Dean Kennedy, Jets captain, behind his own goal. Adams, being chased by Borsato, takes a hit from Eagles. Eagles has it for the Jets. Tries to get the shot away. Shannon now for Winnipeg. Phil Housley goes behind the net. Housley gets it again. Housley tries the wraparound checks for Shannon, and Shannon couldn't put it on the net.
And there's going to be a penalty against the Vancouver Canucks. Good pressure. Robert Dirk is going off for roughing. As Phil Housley jumped up into the play and set up shot behind the net, the Canucks defensive coverage in their zone broke down, and they took a penalty.
A glorious opportunity for Shannon as he was trying to find the far side. It was open. It was available, but Shannon couldn't find it.
He couldn't get it out far enough. Phil Housley, look at Housley behind the net. He's trying to wrap around, and it goes out to Shannon, but look at Shannon's stick is tipped just at the last second by Dirk. Good job by Robert Dirk after one game off to get back into shape. The Jets' only goal came on the power play, as you see there. Darren Shannon with a tip in. And the Jets, to get back into this game, have to do something here.
Teemu Selanne on the right side. Alexei Zhamnov in the middle. Shannon on the left side. Olsen and Housley are on the points as the Winnipeg Jets begin this power play. And the Canucks clear it down the ice. Not the way you'd like to start a power play, especially with the face-off in the Canucks zone. Zhamnov to Olsen. Olsen loses it, and it's cleared down the ice by Trevor Linden. Housley starts out behind his own net. This is Shannon. The Canucks blue line. Long shot wide. Zhamnov back behind the net to Shannon. And again, the Jets unable to control in the Vancouver zone.
And
now let's go down to the studio and get an update from Scott Oak.
Steve, it's not over yet in Calgary. The Flames are closing. Brian Sprudlin from behind the net to Chris Dahlquist, who scores on a precision wrist shot. It's a 2-goal game now early in the third, 5-3 Kings, and Mike Vernon has started the third period in goal for the Flames.
Looks much like the New York Islanders' comeback last night against the Washington Capitals, where they fell a goal short. Dale Hunter got an empty netter, but the Capitals led that one 5-1. And then hung on to win 6-4.
Here at the Pacific Coliseum tonight, it's the Canucks on top by 2, 3-1, 16:43 to play, second period. Semenov to Bure. Bure backhands it to no one. Teppo Numminen there for the Jets, being watched by Semenov. Plays it to Steen, across to Housley. Bure in looking at Housley as Housley forced to turn back and start out again. Dumps it in right side. Semenov gets the rebound. Didick unable to control. Steen behind the Canucks net, looking for somebody to pass to. 2 Jets go behind the net. Ty Domi now there for Winnipeg. 37 seconds remaining in the man advantage to the Winnipeg Jets. They really haven't had a quality shot on goal in this power play. Housley. There's the shot. McLean got a piece of it. This is Pavel Bure with Semenov, 2-on-2. Semenov leaves it for Bure. Bure shot! Essens in with the save, and he looks behind him.
Good 2-on-2, Semenov and Bure. Semenov drove the defense back and then gave the drop pass to Bure. And Bure had lots of room and time to let that one go on Bob Essenson. Here's the 2-on-2, and look at Semenov, drives both defensemen deep. And that enables Bure to have room. He lets it go. Look at Bob Essenson. He thought that one squeaked through. That's why you wear that size 60 sweater. Bob Essenson wears a size 60 sweater. You make sure you have that big sweater so that little space gets covered up and you catch a few that you don't expect.
That little space paying dividends there for Bob Essenson and the Winnipeg Jets. Kennedy has it picked off by Craven. This is Vaughn working the end boards. John Druce for the Jets. And again, the Jets unable to come out. There's a shot. And Essenson got his pad in front of that. Barnes passing in the middle. Picked off by Jyrki Lumme. Lumme plays it ahead to Vaughn. Druce from his own blue line ahead to Stu Barnes. Barnes with the shot. Playing! And Bill McCreary has his arm up.
Good pressure, as you said, Steve, and the Canucks again have to take a penalty as the Winnipeg Jets cycle the puck down deep, and it's Sergio Momesso going off for holding. And the Canucks were fortunate that Bill McCreary deemed they had control. Here's Momesso there with the hook. And up goes Bill McCreary's arm. And there, Kirk McLean touched it, and Bill McCreary blew the whistle.
Momesso for hooking at 5.7.
So the Winnipeg power play will get another chance to work against the Canucks. 14:33 remaining to play, second period. Canucks in front 3-1.
Less than a minute after their last power play. Their last power play looked pretty sad as the Jets couldn't gain control and never really had a chance on Kirk McLean.
Olofsson along the sideboards to Teemu Selanne. Selanne's shot deflected by Jyrki Lumme. This is Janmark. Back to Housley. Plays it into Chuck. Chuck back to Housley. Canucks would like to keep the Jets as wide as possible, and so far they've managed to do just that. As Lumme comes up with a loose puck, plays it ahead to Vaughn.
Again, Zhanov in a pretty good position to shoot, but he tried to pass to Selanne, and Lumme read it well and intercepted the pass.
Housley at the Canucks blue line. For Selanne. Selanne misfired on the pass. Here comes Pavel Bure. Semenov on his right. And Semenoff went all the way around the net. Murray was looking for somebody to pass to. 59 seconds remaining in the Jets' man advantage. As Housley dumps it in. Back to the point, and Housley fakes the shot. One time by Olsen. Babbage being watched by Shamrock. Plays it off the boards. Olsen keeps it in for the Jets. To Kachuk. He can't handle it. Babbage takes a funny bounce and winds up in front to Pavel Bure. Bure at center ice. Bure has Semenoff with him. Bure still has it, working against Olsen. Kachuk comes over to help out. Good job by Pavel Bure, the Russian rocket. Now Kachuk comes away for Winnipeg. Plays it ahead to Housley. 10 seconds remaining in the man advantage for the Jets. Solani working against Lidster. And it's cleared into the neutral zone by Anatoly Semenoff. Teppo Numminen for the Jets.
In Calgary, the Kings have restored their 3-goal lead. The great one, with his 3rd point of the game, puts it out front to Warren Reichel. The playoff goal-scoring star gets his 3rd of the series. Kings lead 6-3 early in the 3rd period.
Thank you, Scott. Here at the Pacific Coliseum, it's the Canucks leading the Jets 3-1. Lidster fires it back into the Jet zone. And then backhanded out into the neutral ice area by the Jets. Lidster off the side boards. This is Teppo Numminen for Winnipeg. Nobody on the right side. Robert Dirk gets there for Vancouver. Thomas Steen trying to poke it free. Does. Comes in front, but the Jets unable again to do anything with it. Cliff Ronning knocks it in. Linden goes in deep. Shannon has Ty Domi open on the right side, but the pass was too far. Domi takes Dirk down. Shannon does the work against Lidster, and then Lidster drops Domi. Lidster on top of Domi behind the Canucks goal. This is Thomas Steen, couldn't control it. Courtnall has it, backhands it ahead to Cliff Ronning. This is the tail end of a long shift for the Ronning-Linden-Courtnall line as Courtnall goes down trying to stay onside as Linden carried the puck in, and it's called offside at the Jets blue line.
Ty Domi with a good hit on Robert Dirk, trying to create some excitement for the Winnipeg Jets after 2 feeble power plays. Good solid hit there by Domi. And Domi throws it in behind, tries to draw a penalty there from Lidster, doesn't get it. And watch Lidster right here. Domi realizes he has a defenseman, tries to tie up Lidster and get him out of the play. It didn't work as the Jets lost control.
Robert Dirk missed game 4. Hip injury, according to the team. We thought it might be his ribs. It turns out to be his hip. Doesn't seem to be causing him any problems tonight. King knocks it into the Canucks zone. Chance for Eagles. Eagles goes behind the net. Couldn't get the pass in front. Borsato fighting on the end boards. Goes back to Eagles. And this is Dixon Ward, the Canucks rookie. Working down the left side. Cuts into the middle. And Borsato is tripped up by Momesso. Dumped into the Jet zone. Dixon Ward having difficulty coming off the ice. Gets to the bench.
Just barely gets to the bench as he came across 1-on-4 and got his head down and just got creamed.
Sergio Momesso dumps it in right side. Nedved trying to get to it. Momesso gets his own dump in. Adams with a weak shot. Turned aside by Essensen. Adams fighting for it. Finally, it's Momesso who comes up with it. Crowd calling for a penalty against the Jets. McCreary having nothing to do with it. Dumped down the ice. And this is icing against the Winnipeg Jets as we get some action at the Canucks bench.
Chris King, you sparingly. Now watch Dixon Ward. Head down and look out. Right there, good solid hit by Chris King, hip to hip. And Dixon just a good, solid hit from Chris King.
And Dixon Ward is working out the kinks in the hallway area off of the Canucks bench. He felt that, saw him go down, and he had difficulty getting to his skates to get off the ice, as John pointed out.
After he watched the puck, he was nailed by Chris King. Teemu Selanne has really been a non-factor here tonight. He's played the one good game where he had the 3 goals. But you look at the other young guns, as their poster called. We've seen the poster a couple times. Davidov not even dressed tonight. Jamnov no points. Selanne with the 3 goals in the one game. And Keith Tkachuk. You look at the players with Stanley Cup rings, and not a whole lot of them from the Winnipeg Jets. Mike Lawler, and not many people passing through Edmonton other than Jeff Courtnall and Anatoly Semenov. Brian Walter, naturally the longtime Montreal Canadian. As we look at John Paddock, he was close with Philadelphia when he played there in 1980.
Played for Pat Quinn, and that he's coaching against in this series. This is Pavel Bure. Big shot! And it's high.
That's off the crossbar from Pavel Bure. That had Bob Essence a beaten. And for a little guy, it's hard to read his shot. Now watch Pavel Bure get set up for this shot and just let it rip off the crossbar, up and over the glass.
They certainly appreciate the effort of Pavel Bure, although they do have the fan meter going here at the Pacific Coliseum to get the fans involved. Bill Housley behind the Jets goal. Jets trailing by 2, 3-1. 9:25 to play in the second period. Adams for Craven. Craven dumps it in, goes off the skate of Tkachuk. Pavel Bure is there. Pavel Bure passes back in the middle. Pass intercepted. This is Tkachuk. Tkachuk is brought down by Jyrki Lume. Tkachuk looking towards Bill McCreary, looking for a penalty. This is Pavel Bure. Back to Adams. Adams, quick shot wide. And it winds up on the mesh behind Bob Essenza.
Tried to feed Tony Granato, but the puck goes in off Kevin Dahl's head. Not the way Gretzky usually scores, but he has his first of the series, and it's 7-3 Kings at the Saddledome.
Scott, I think the way Gretzky has been scoring, or lack of it, he'll take them any way he can get them.
This might be a little payback time for that 9-4 game where the Calgary Flames beat up on the Kings the last time they played in Calgary.
Teppo Numminen fires it into the corner. Semenov shoots it down the ice. Lawler gives chase. Lawler to Thomas Steen. Steen at center ice. In the middle. Shannon. Has it poked away by Robert Dirk. Shannon plays it into the corner, and McCreary has his arm up, and we're going to get a penalty.
And it looks like Doug Lidster going off for tripping on Thomas Steen in front of the net. And again, good pressure by the Winnipeg Jets. Good forechecking. Now here's Lidster on Steen. Look at the hook underneath Steen's leg. Down he goes, and Lidster gets a penalty.
The time, 11:39.
Ty Domi mixing it up with Gary Volk, and that's what the fans were hollering about. You see Domi with a quick right. No retaliation for Volk. Away from the play, and Bill McCreary didn't see it. And then Doug Lidster takes the penalty, and that's 3 in a row now against the Vancouver Canucks, and the Jets' power play has not been very good here in the second period.
Certainly the last time out with the man advantage, the Jets' power play did not look very potent. Jamnov, Tkachuk, and Teemu Selanne, the forwards for the Jets. Housley and Frederick Olausson, the point men. 8:21 to play, second period. Canucks 3, Jets 1. They'd like a goal here. Housley, one time, scores!
And I think it's Keith Tkachuk who tips this one down. Who cares how it looked last time? It worked pretty well that time. They set up Phil Housley for the shot. And Keith Tkachuk standing in front. And again, Gerald Diddick with Tkachuk. Key face-off, won by Jamnov. goes back. And look at Housley get in position for the shot. Here's the pass across. Good shot by Housley. And there's Didick and Tkachuk right in front of Kurt McLean. There's Didick, tries to get Tkachuk out of the way, but it hits Tkachuk's arm and goes down under Kurt McLean.
So the Winnipeg Jets power play cashes in early, and the Jets are now down by 1. They have given Housley credit for the goal. Solani and Jamnov drawing the assist. The goal coming at 11:46. Lawler passing behind his own net. Ronnie on the side boards. Pass it through the Canucks. Mistimes the shot. This is Borsato working down the right side against Dave Babbage. Babbage taking Borsato into the boards. Gerald Didick off the glass. Behind the net. 2 Jets are there. Pass in front. Housley pinching in. Housley gets the shot away. McLean directs it to the side boards. Ronning and Courtnall 2-on-2. Housley and Boughton back. Courtnall with a nice move against Housley. Hits the shot away. A weak one. But Essensa turns aside. Courtnall plays it into the corner. Trevor Linden there for the Canucks. Leaves it for Courtnall. Courtnall off the boards. Cleared to the neutral zone. Dana Mirza fires it in right side. Courtnall racing after, gets it to Ronnie, and Essensa comes up with a save for the Winnipeg Jets, robbing Cliff Ronnie. And we've got King and Courtnall down by the Canucks bench. King and Courtnall exchanging words, but nothing comes of it. Big save by Bob Essensa.
Sergei Boughton turned around the wrong way on that shoot-in, and that created the chance for the Vancouver Canucks. Look at Boughton. He's circling the wagons now after he turned the wrong way on the shoot-in. Turned away from the play, and 2 Canucks jumped by him. And Bob Essensa makes the save. Keith Tkachuk, they haven't given him the goal yet. And Alexei Jamnov gets his second assist of the night and his second point of the series. Here's the shot. Now look at in front. Does it hit Tkachuk and go down? It hits something in front. Tkachuk and Didick both standing there. Good screen.
I think you're right, John. It was continuing to rise, and then all of a sudden it started to drop, so it had to hit something in front, either Didick or Tkachuk. But the official scoring play is Housley, assist to Solani and Jamnov. The Jets will take it. They now trail by 1, 3-2, 6:51 to play, second period. Dixon Ward back on the ice for the Canucks. Momesso falls in the corner. Mike Lawler behind his own goal. Being watched by Peter Nedved. Along the boards to Darren Shannon. Has Ty Domi in the middle. Steen making a move down the right side. Knocked in. Steen has it. Loses it to Ward. Ward pokes it along the end boards. Lidström there against Ty Domi. This is Shannon passing in front. Dean Kennedy turns and fires wide. Back to Kennedy. Kennedy with a shot. Bouncer. Canucks able to clear. This is Momesso at the blue line. Dumps it in. Tries to get around Tekkonen and can't. Essensa comes out to play it. Along the boards. Jets can't clear the zone. Canucks keep the pressure on. Momesso shot from well out. And Dixon Ward was well placed for the rebound, but it hopped over his stick. Dean Kennedy behind his own net. 5:43 to play, second period. Canucks 3, Jets 2. Jets needing a win to stay alive in the series. This is Murray Craven. Has Adams in the middle. Bure trailing on the play. Craven fires in front. Bure was there for the rebound, but Essensa was able to fall down and cover up for the Winnipeg Jets.
A good rush by Murray Craven as he cut in. Threw the puck out to Greg Adams, and Bure coming late almost got to the rebound, but Bob Essensa was a little quicker with the left hand. Now look at Craven go wide on Olofsson, and Adams uses his size to get in behind. But look at Essensa get that hand down just before Pavel Bure got there. Murray's dad, Ron, played in the Western League for the Calgary Stampeders. I'm sure you're old enough to remember that, Steve.
Before my time. Long before my time.
He was called Ron Crafty Craven, a good forward.
Adams. Working against Boughton. This is Bure. Passing to Craven. Back to Lume. Lume to a wide open Adams. And Adams unable to control the pass. Knocked over his stick. Bure working out from the corner. Bure passing in front. Yerky Lume was there, but he couldn't get a stick on it. Rink wide pass intercepted by Merzen. Merzen almost gave it away to Tkachuk. Now Adams at his own blue line. Flips it looking for Bure. Picked off by Tkachuk. Tkachuk plays it to Housley. To Jamnov. He can't do anything with it. And Dana Merzen plays it ahead for Craven, unable to get to it. To Jamnov, through the middle to Tkachuk. Tkachuk runs into Dana Merzen. Both go down. Adams ahead to Craven. End of a long shift for this line for Vancouver. Lume leaves it for Merzen. Merzen backhands it around for Pavel Bure. Jets keep the pressure on. Keep it in the zone. Shot from Willock. Deflected in front. Teko Numminen moving forward for the Jets. Gets the shot away. And McLean makes the...
Sit down, Frank. Recently elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Arthur building his new building in downtown Vancouver.
Nervous moments for both father and son as they watch the Canucks, who now lead the Jets by 1. Essenza elects to go the backhand behind his own goal. Off the boards from Dean Kennedy. Babbage and Eagles meeting in center. This is Chris King. Leaves it for Kennedy. Kept in by Diddick. Diddick with a shot. And Essenza had to be sharp to turn that aside. Locke with a good move. Backhands it into the zone. Hutter working against Kennedy. Chris King just fires it into the stand.
Look at Dave Babbage, who has probably been the best defenseman in the series so far. He's so strong, Mike Eagles tried to hit him. Now watch Mike Eagles come and hit Babbage. And look who gets the worst of that one. Mike Eagles gives away about 20 pounds, but still Dave Babbage showing his strength. And Scott will be talking to Dave Babbage, and we'll have some updates on the out-of-town games, at least with a big win. And the Kings well on the way to their win. I wonder if Scott will ask him about his golf courses in Winnipeg. One of them's open. The other one will be open in August.
There's a couple. One out by the airport. Flew over it the other day. Steve at center. Passes to Shannon. Shannon gets the shot away wide, but not by much. Courtnall. Ahead to Lidster. Lidster shoots it in. Chance for Linden. Shot save. Essenza. A huge save by Bob Essenza off Trevor Linden, who was all alone in front.
And that's 2 now. You remember the one on Ronning, his team battling back to get close, and now they've given up some great scoring chances against.
This is Cliff Ronning and Courtnall 2-on-2. Courtnall unable to get the shot away. So the Jets come back. Jamnov shoots it into the Canucks zone. McLean leaving it there for Doug Lidster. 2:29 to play, second period. Canucks 3, Jets 2. Teemu Selanne behind his own goal, picking up steam at the blue line. Now at the Canucks blue line, tied up there neatly by Yerky Lume. Chance for the Jets in front, and McLean is forced to clear. Selanne was parked on the doorstep.
And Pavel Bure did a good job defensively, coming back to pick up Selanne. Everybody talks about Bure in the offensive zone there. Good defensive play on Selanne.
1:52 to play in the period. Adams shoots it in. Essenza forced to make the save. Numminen clears it down the ice as Merzen goes back to touch it. And the Winnipeg Jets will be called for icing with 1:37 to play in the period.
The Canucks guilty of a turnover late in the period. And 2 Jets saved the defense, but Pavel Bure got back. Now watch the turnover right here. Look at Lou Solani go to the net, and Bure right there to make sure Solani didn't get a stick on it. Now here's the Trevor Linden chance. Now look at the Jets defense. Where are they? There's Phil Housley. Where's Sergei Bout? Linden is all alone, and a big save by Bob Essens.
The face-off in the Jets zone to the right of Bob Essens. 1:37 to play, second period. This is Borsato. Plays it ahead to Chris King on the left side. He dumps it into the right side of the Canucks zone. Adams ahead to Bure, who couldn't control it. Lawler, long lead pass, picked off by Bure. Tried to get it to Craven, gets it to Adams, and it's blown down on the offside at the Jets blue line.
A good call by Ray Scampanello as Murray Craven lifted his foot as Adams brought that puck in offside. And Greg Adams, you can still tell his timing is off. Great chance earlier in the period. Jyrki Lumme set him up, and he just missed the pass. And you see his points in this series. And had he been in mid-season form, those goals would have at least doubled by now and probably tripled with the chances he's had.
Face-off just outside the Jets zone. Murray Craven working against Mike Eagles. Craven, Adams, and Bure, the forwards for Vancouver. Babbage and Gerald Diddick working the blue line. Babbage shoots it in. Lawler back for Winnipeg. And behind the play, Murray Craven was upended by Teppo Numminen.
And this was a late call by Bill McCreary, and it's an interference call on Numminen. Murray Craven did a good job on his forechecking to create the chance. Now watch, here's Numminen right there with the hook on Craven, and down goes Craven. Bill McCreary took a long time to get the arm up on that one.
54. Numminen for interference at 18:54.
And that penalty coming with 1:06 remaining in the second period. Canucks will have the man advantage for the tail end of the second and the start of the third. Now to Scott Oak.
At least Fleury has one for the Flames in Calgary. 4 minutes to go in the third period. Fleury stops the shot, turns, and scores on Rob Stauber. It's 7-4 Kings now. Fleury's fourth of the playoffs.
Here in Vancouver, it's 3-2 Canucks over the Jets. With 48 seconds remaining to play in the second period, Craven brings it in for Vancouver to Bure. Canucks have the man advantage for the next minute 34. Bure. Back to Babbage. To Bure. Bure. To Babbage. Off the boards. Babbage able to keep it in. Canucks keep the pressure on. Bure to Craven. Behind the Jets goal, plays it to Adams. Adams back to the point to Babbage. First time by Bure. Partially blocked in front. Dying seconds of the second period. Bure gets the shot away into the stands, and the Canucks will head to the dressing room where they face elimination. Are they 20 minutes away from ending their season tonight? It was Shannon who opened up the scoring for the Jets with a power play goal. Diddick answered that with a strange goal that handcuffed Essenza. And that tied the game at 1. Then Pavel Bure gave the Canucks a 2-1 lead. Greg Adams made it 3-1 with a power play goal, his third of the second season. And it looked as if the Canucks were going to coast. But then Housley got a goal for Winnipeg, although they have just changed that as we speak to Keith Tkachuk. Housley with the shot, and it went in off of Keith Tkachuk. And that made it 3-2. And that's where we sit right now as we get set to start this third period of play. Will it be the final period of the season for the Winnipeg Jets? chasing after the puck. Fountain there for the Jets. Murray digging for it. Trevor Linden gets it. Back to Babbage. Tries to keep it in. Adams shot. Save! Essenza!
Another big save by Bob Essenza on the rolling puck. Greg Adams lets the shot go. Essenza makes the save. Now watch this, a giveaway. Again, Sergei Bowden getting trapped, and look at Bob Essenza. Perfect position. Goes down, gets a glove on it, controls a rebound with Pavel Bure right there.
Canucks starting this period with a man advantage. 34 seconds remaining in the penalty to Teppo Numminen. 2-minute minor at the tail end of the second period. Linden gets it to Bure. Bure back to Babbage. Slides it over to Craven. Gives it back to Babbage. One time by Bure. The side of the net. Back to Babbage. Babbage one time and blocked in front by the Jets. Babbage to Bure. Babbage. Shot from Willow, and Essenza just got a piece of it. Teams at even strength now. The power play is over for the Canucks, and the Jets have killed it off.
You can hear Kirk McLean banging his stick on the ice, and his teammates didn't respond at all, but the Jets couldn't hit Teppo Numminen out of the penalty box.
Housley behind his own net, trying to find Shannon with a pass up on the left side. McLean swoops it aside to Dana Merson. He does that well. Dumped in on the left side. This is Tim Hutter. Taken in the boards by Sergei Boughton. Hutter looking for somebody to pass it to. Being worked over by Boughton. Boughton loses his helmet. Gary Vaught joins the fray. Vaught leaves it for Hutter. And then Anatoly Semenov gets into the act. Plays it for Vaught, but is broken up by Thomas Steen. Teemu Selanne, who has yet to have a shot on goal in this game. Shannon behind the Canucks net, still has it. Leaves it for Teppo Numminen. Pass to the side of the net. Shannon is there, tries the wraparound. And the Canucks are able to clear it down the ice.
Again, good pressure by the Jets, and the main reason because Phil Housley's in deep, standing in front, outmanning the Canucks in their own zone. You look at the ice time, Pavel Bure is pretty consistent right around the 8-minute mark, but look at the Jets trailing going into the second period. Teemu Selanne's ice time goes up by about 2 minutes. In Winnipeg the other night, Selanne played every other shift in the third period in Game 4. We'll see if John Paddock goes back to that, trailing just by 1.
Shots on goal to this point early in the third period favor the Canucks 23-13. And where it counts the most, the Canucks have the lead on the scoreboard. 3-2, the count. 17:43 remaining to play, third period. Ronnie behind his own net. Has Linden on his right, and he dumps it into the right side. Clear out the boards, and then knocked into the stands. A souvenir for a lucky fan here at the Pacific Coliseum.
And again, Trevor Linden on his first shift in the third period, trying to set the tempo for the Vancouver Canucks. He did it in the first period. He came out hitting. Very physical presence. He did it in Game 1. He set the tone early. And he's probably been the best forward this series, I would say, Trevor Linden. We look at the goal production for Linden. He's got 6 points on the series, and he has been a physical presence.
Same total as Phil Housley. Housley's points, all assists. Teppo Numminen behind the net. Flips it out to the neutral zone. Murray Craven knocks it back in. Lawler behind his own goal. Waiting for somebody to make a move. To Teppo Numminen. Off the boards to Domi. Domi passing to Tkachuk. Tkachuk goes around Dirk, but goes down in the process. Jamnov Leaves it for Kachuk, unable to get the shot away. Lawler controlling for the Jets. Shot from well out. Domi against Ronnie. Ronnie passing in front. Cornell able to tip it to Linden. And then Linden dumping it through the neutral zone into the Jets. And Babbage at his own blue line. This is Eagles working the left side. King turns and gets the shot away. Babbage. This is Bure. Ahead to Diddick. Diddick. Shot from Willard, and Essenza makes the glove save. 16:50 to play. Third period. Tonight's game coming to you.
Out as a screen right here, and Bob Essenza's out well, gets the left hand out to make the save. Diddick's had a couple of good scoring chances and scored on one that bounced off the glass.
Face-off in the Jets zone. Play along the boards. Boughton digging for it. Takes a hit from Hunter. Back to the point. Deflected by Semenoff in front. And then Housley is able to clear at the neutral zone. Tim Hunter. Passes for Gary Vaught. Chasing after it. Vaught behind the net to Hunter. Hunter looks before he makes the pass. Gary Vaught passes in front. Semenoff overskated it. Gerald Diddick being watched by Chris King. Played off the sideboards. King to Frederick Olesen. Olesen to Dean Kennedy. Back in the middle to Steen. Dumps in left side. Shannon chasing after it. Babbage for the Canucks. Steen keeps it in. Quick shot deflected. Shot away. This is Semenoff. Just dumps it into the center ice area.
Semenoff and Volk on the end of the long shift had trouble in their own zone just because they were so tired.
Played center ice. Shot driven into the Canucks zone. Murray on the sideboards in his skates. Shannon pries it loose. Jyrki Lume working against Steen. Neither team able to control the puck. Lume now for the Canucks. Ahead to Pavel Bure. Bure to Greg Adams. Back to Bure. Bure elects not to shoot. Merzen dumps it in. Canucks forced to clear the zone. 14:20 to play. Third period. Canucks lead by 1. Kachuk. Tries the left side. Broken up by Trevor Linden. Linden with the giveaway, and that was deflected wide. Kachuk turning in front. Couldn't get the shot away. Trevor Linden has it. Linden being watched by Housley. Housley does a good job in prying the puck loose, and then Linden passes in front again, deflected by a Jet. Sergio Momesso plays it off the boards. Doug Lidster, center ice, dumps it in.
Housley showed his speed getting back on Trevor Linden. Just calmly got back, outskated Linden, reached around, and negated the play.
Housley with the spinorama move. This is Yamnoff. Can't get by Doug Lidster. Lidster ahead to Cliff Ronning. Plays it for Linden. Linden can't control. Olesen tries to find Housley. This is Ronning at the blue line. Dumps it in. Canucks change on the fly. The Hunter-Vaught Semenoff line out there for Vancouver. Diddick hitting Domi on the sideboards. The crowd getting a buzz out of that. Housley starts out for the Jets. Ahead to Mike Eagles. Eagles with the shot. And McLean got his blocker on that and drove it into the stands. Canucks still lead by 1.
Is this your average house pet?
Ernie, 12B. Recognize anyone?
Ernie, is this your average beer? Molson Special Dry. Starts bold, finishes clean with no aftertaste.
First time he took off like that.
Eagles, but the Canucks have done a good job, especially 5-on-5, making making sure that the Winnipeg Jets don't get good quality scoring chances. And Bob Essensa has made 3 game savers since his team made it close.
Block tries to clear it along the boards. Does successfully at the neutral zone. Jets come back, regroup. Olofsson tries to backhand. Picked off. Semenov for Gary Vaught. Vaught breaks his stick on the shot. Dana Merzen fires it in. Essensa misplays it. Kennedy clearing the zone. Merzen dumps it back in. Chance for the Jets. This is Eagles. Shot saved by McLean. Borsato with an excellent opportunity for the Winnipeg Jets. But McLean comes up big. Olofsson. Steen shoots it in. Shannon plays it along the boards. McLean intercepts. Shannon behind the net. Eagles passing in front. Oh, a great save off of Teemu Selanne by Kirk McLean. Good opportunities for the Winnipeg Jets.
Borsato scored shorthanded on McLean through the legs. He tried the same shot. This time McLean closed him and came up with a game saver. Teemu Selanne had that pass out. The shot, I think, hit Doug Lidster in front of Kirk McLean. Now watch, Borsato takes the pass from Eagles, and Borsato goes in. He scored through the legs, tries it again. Look at McLean this time. And Eagles misses the rebound. Now watch on Teemu Selanne. Look at Doug Lidster get in position, and right there it hits Lidster in the side of the foot.
Tries to clear. Shannon able to fire it off the glass. Bure plays it ahead for Greg Adams. He's got Craven in the middle. Bure takes a swipe at it. Selanne on the sideboards for the Jets. Loses it. Bure has it. Backhands it in front. Did it. Plays it back to Bure. Bure pass in front. And Murray Craven was parked there but couldn't get the shot away. Bure doing a good job at both ends of the ice. Pass in front. Jets force the turnover. Another pass. And score! Jets have tied it.
Darren Shannon and the fans are booing because they thought Bill Housley should have had a penalty. And I don't know whether they're not right on this one. Bill McCreary hasn't called a whole lot. Now look at Housley right there. Knocks down Greg Adams. No penalty called. Darren Shannon goes to the front of the net and just shoots it inside the post. No chance for Kirk McLean. Now watch the pass out front, and Darren Shannon fights off Dave Babbage and gets it past Kirk McLean.
And for Darren Shannon, do they come any bigger? He ties the game at 3 with 10:55 remaining to play in the third period.
Shannon scored the first goal, power play goal, and Steen and Phil Housley gets an assist. Housley should get an assist for knocking down Greg Adams and keeping the puck in.
Time of the goal, 9:05. At one point, the Canucks led this one 3-1, but the Jets have come back with a couple of goals. Kachuk and Darren Shannon to tie the game.
And the fans didn't like that call on the two-line pass. Now watch Kirk McLean here. Bill Housley knocks his man down. Dave Babbage tries to get to Shannon and can't. Shannon came from the side. Good pass from Thomas Steen out to Shannon, and Shannon just beat Kirk McLean from about 5 feet out.
10:38 to play, third period. The horn high atop the rafters here at the Pacific Coliseum. The faceoff in the Canucks zone. Robert Dirk ahead to Cliff Ronning, can't control it. Dirk tries to get it ahead to Courtnall. Pass on the left side for Kachuk. Kachuk, weak shot. Easily turned aside by Kirk McLean. Jammed off, and Kachuk working the corner. Canucks come away with a Trevor Linden. Linden ahead to Courtnall. Has running in the middle, but he missed him with the pass. This is Kachuk. Running intercepts that pass. And it's Courtnall who is upended. And the play is blown down on the offside. The fans wanting a penalty.
Cardinals trying to draw a penalty. He's not going to get one here. He's glaring at Bill McCreary, shaking his head. But you watch the play. Now watch Courtnall at the blue line. Right here, Mike Waller gives him a tug. Courtnall goes down. And no penalty called by Bill McCreary.
9:56 showing on the scoreboard clock here at the Pacific Coliseum. Pat Quinn has seen his team squander a 2-goal lead. We are tied at 3.
And that's 3 times in this series. They had 2-0 leads in both games, games 1 and 2, and ended up being tied and having to rally late to win those.
A sellout crowd for the first time in the series here at the Pacific Coliseum. Over 16,000.
As we look at Tim Hunter, and he has really played his role well for the Vancouver Canucks. He's played a lot. And you see his penalty minutes with the Calgary Flames. And if you looked at any enforcer throughout the league and you had any young guy coming up, you'd want to get the tapes of this series and show the play of Tim Hunter and say, well, here's what you're supposed to do. You pick a time and a spot, you try and draw some penalties, you don't cost your team, and you get involved. This line has really forced some good chances in the offensive zone.
And discipline has certainly been the key to the game of Tim Hunter in this series. Anatoly Simonov into the jet zone, bodied by Dean Kennedy. Pass in front from Simonov, nobody there for the Vancouver Canucks. Diddick shoots it back in. Olsen there for Winnipeg. Off the side boards. Eagles got a stick on it and dumped it into the timer's bench.
Mike Eagles missed the first game with a bad back and came back, played game 2, and he has been a force, especially on faceoffs for the Winnipeg Jets. Defensive faceoffs. He plays much stronger than he is, or stronger than his size, I should say. Pound for pound, one of the stronger guys in the Jets, but not that big, and comes up big on the faceoffs.
9:16 to play, third period. Canucks 3, Jets 3. Jets needing a win to stay alive. Canucks need a win to advance to the Smythe Division final against either Calgary or Los Angeles. Murray Craven. Exchange places with Jyrki Lumme. Craven got a glove on it, but unable to knock it down. Here's a chance for Teemu Selanne. Selanne all alone, gets the shot away. Save the play. Huge save from Kirk McLean off of Teemu Selanne. Jyrki Lumme in the middle now. To Greg Adams unable to convert it. Good action at both ends. Bure working his way out from the corner. Fires it back into the corner. Craven goes behind the net to try and retrieve it. This is Shannon. Adams keeps it in. Fires it behind the net. Pavel Bure is there. Bure. Dropped to the ice by Thomas Steen, and we're going to get a penalty against Thomas Steen of the Winnipeg Jets. So the Jets will be down a man for the next 2 minutes.
Finally, a game for the more civilized. It's Pepsi's Power Play Hockey Contest. Simply look under these smartly designed caps of Pepsi and 7-Up beverages and acquire letters to spell shoot, save, or score. You could win one of 10 smashing 2-door Ford Explorer Sports, a big screen television, or one of millions of instant win prizes. Pepsi's Power Play Hockey Contest, a game for the refined intellect.
The one thing about Camry is that it is quiet.
There's no road noise. It's extremely quiet.
It's like driving a flying carpet.
The Toyota philosophy is the we care philosophy.
When was the last time you saw a feature like this on the driver's side of an automobile?
As you notice, I'm 6'1.5", and I have lots of legroom here.
185 horsepower family sedan. I think that says it all about the Camry.
It's just a darn good car.
Here's the biggest save of the night at either end. Now watch the patience. McLean wait, and then go down to make the save on Teemu Selanne. And you look at Thomas Steen, the holding penalty on Pavel Bure, and the Canucks power play now has a chance after the fans got back into it after the Kirk McLean save.
8:14 to play. Third period and a 3-all tie here at the Pacific Coliseum. Cliff Ronning takes the face-off for the Canucks. Score that one a draw. Canucks able to keep it in. Linden. Over Ronning. Bure. Portnoy now for the Canucks. One time wide of the mark. Ronning was parked at the side of the net hoping for a deflection, and it's cleared into the stands by the Winnipeg Jets.
Canucks moved it around well, had the shot they wanted. They were going for the tip in, and it was a little too high. Look at Pat Quinn, seeing who he's going to throw out on his next power play unit. He's got Pavel Bure and Dave Babbage playing the point on this one.
1:37 remaining in the man advantage for the Canucks. 7:47 in the period. This is Babbage being watched by Borsato. Defrani losing it to Dean Kennedy, and Kennedy just shooting it down the ice to relieve some of the pressure. Babbage starts out from behind his own goal. 1:15 remaining in the man advantage for Vancouver. Bure for Babbage. Babbage couldn't get around Jamnov. Jamnov read that one perfectly. Tied up at the blue line. Jamnov doing a very good job with his skates. Teppo Numminen with a long shot turned aside by Kirk McLean.
And remember, Luciano Borsato has the only short-handed goal of the series on a breakaway. In the game, the Jets won.
Portnoy pulled down at the blue line. Bure keeps it in ahead to Ronning. Ronning moving forward. Ronning losing it. Trevor Linden with a shot. And Essenza got a piece of that, and the Jets are able to clear. 30 seconds remaining in the penalty to Thomas Steen, dumped in by the Canucks. 6:38 to play, third period. Again, knocked down the ice by the Winnipeg Jets, not allowing the Canucks to get organized in the Jets zone. Jyrki Lumme starting out for Vancouver. 10 seconds remaining in the man advantage. Semenov with Greg Adams. Numminen. Chance for Adams. Shot save. Essenza. And Shannon comes away for the Winnipeg Jets. Plays it on the left side looking for Borsato. Broken up by Lumme. Goes behind his own net. 5:54 to play, third period. 3-all tie here at the Pacific Coliseum. Played in the middle to Semenov on a pass from Bach, and his shot goes high and into the stands.
And the Jets get a chance to change or get a regular line out after they killed that penalty to Thomas Steen. As we look at Anatoly Semenov, Bob Essenz has made some good saves, and Kirk McLean has made some great ones here in the third period. Essenz did most of his spectacular goaltending at the end of the second. Now here with the man advantage, look at Essenz stretch out, make the save, and Mike Lawler clears the rebound. This wraparound by Greg Adams. Look at Essenz get his stick back in position. That's the key, the poke check, and then you get your stick back into position. And that enabled Bob Essenz to make the save.
We said before this game began that John Paddock would like some spectacular goaltending from Bob Essenza, and he has certainly got it at times in Game 5 here in Vancouver tonight. 5:46 remaining to play, third period in a 3-all tie. Face-off in the Jet zone. Jets win it. Get it back to Housley. Housley behind his own goal. Housley on the right side to Teemu Selanne. Selanne goes in against Jyrki Lume. Passes to Kachuk. Kachuk looking for somebody to pass to. Picked off by Dana Merson. Merson to Craven. Lume turns and fires it into the Jet zone. Sergei Boughton to Housley. Housley had his own blue line. Housley gets the return pass. Puck behind the Canucks goal. That's Vaughan up on the left side. Boughton beats him to it. Boughton turns and fires into the Canucks bench.
Teemu Selanne had that breakaway chance, and if you were the Winnipeg Jets, you're sitting on the bench, who would you want to have the breakaway?
76 goals over the course of the regular season, a hat trick in Game 3. If you had to bet on anybody beating Kirk McLean in that position, McLean was down and out, and all Selanne had to do was get it up another couple of inches, and it was in the back of the net. That was buried.
I thought Kirk McLean played it very well. You say the signs here, there's a number of signs. They've got tee-off times written on the wall for the Jets on Wednesday.
Dumped in by Teppo Numminen to the right of McLean. King passes in front high. Teppo Numminen forced to go back into his own zone. 4:37 to play, third period. There's a chance for King. One-on-one against Lidster. King using Lidster as a straight shot there from Borsallo. Saved by McLean. Eagles into the corner for King. King being watched by Lidster. Eagles comes over to help out. Robert Dirk backhands it along the boards for Trevor Linden. Linden tries to find Portland with a pass. Numminen dumps it in. Jets change on the fly. Lidster deep in his own zone ahead to Courtnall. Courtnall into the Jet zone. Boughton is there for Winnipeg. Long lead pass to Ty Domi. Domi plays it off the boards. Diddick backhands it into the neutral zone. 3:48 to play, third period. Canucks 3, Jets 3. Jamnoff has Ty Domi with him. Leaves it for Shannon. Back to Jamnoff. Jamnoff along the sideboards. Ty Domi picks it up for the Jets. Into Shannon. Shot save off of Jamnoff by Kirk McLean. And the clearing pass in front. And McLean was able to direct it to the side. Now the Canucks come back. 3-on-2. Pavel Bure tried to slide the pass between the legs of Boughton. And it deflected.
Phil Housley did a good job getting in behind Boughton as that puck trickled through to retrieve it and get it down the ice.
Jyrki Lume shoots it into the Winnipeg zone. 3 minutes to play, third period, and a 3-all tie. Shot in by the Jets. Merson chases after it, and we get a whistle with 2:53 to play. Canucks 3, Jets 3.
These days, a lot of people think Chrysler is #1. But at Chrysler, we know better. That's why our #1 sales event is all about you.
My staff is very good.
No getting around it. Service is definitely a hands-on business. That is my job, to provide that personal touch.
I think our customers appreciate the good service we give them.
At Esso, we're dedicated to getting you on your way with fast, friendly service.
Esso has standards, and I have standards.
And the Esso card with valuable Esso rewards gives our customers great service.
Stay tuned immediately following tonight's game. The Molson 3 stars as selected by John Garrett of Hockey Night in Canada. Trevor Linden might well be one of those 3 stars. A difficult choice tonight, John.
It is. There's a number of players played very well. I thought Murray Cravens had a strong game. Dave Babbage, and for the Jets, Phil Housley's been good. Darren Shannon with a couple of goals. He's been good.
2:51 to play, third period. Locke tries to find Craven with a pass. Teppo Numminen now for the Jets in his own zone. Long lead pass looking for Solani. Solani almost gets around Merzen. He was pulled down. Solani looking towards Bill McCreary, hoping for the penalty call, but there was none forthcoming. Kachuk couldn't find Solani with the pass. Pass behind him. Giveaway by the Canucks. Solani with the shot. It's wide. Pass in front of McLean is able to control it. Knock it behind the net. Murray Craven. Bad giveaway by the Canucks there. Locke dumps it in.
The Jets have really cut down on their giveaways, and now it's Vancouver's turn here late in the third period.
Good example of that discipline we were talking about from Tim Hunter, mixing up in front of the Jets goal, and then he just skates away, refusing to be drawn into any sort of altercation.
Teemu Selanne tried to draw that penalty on Dana Merzen. Here's Bob Essence trying to handle the puck, and look at it bouncing. He's got it on his sleeve. He's already banged one into his own net tonight. The way he's played, he doesn't want to score another one for Vancouver.
2:05 to play third period, and a 3-all tie here at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. Wherever you're watching tonight, good to have you with us on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Ronnie wins the faceoff, gets it back to Linden, goes to Babbage. Babbage with the shot, it's blocked, and the Canucks will have to clear the zone as Lidster fires it back in. Housley has it hop over his stick. Mike Eagles clears it to center ice. Dumped back in by Dave Babbage. Linden skating for it. Knocked out the puck by Boughton. And then Ronning takes a hit from Eagles. Boughton goes behind his own goal. Plays it off the boards. Long lead pass at the left side for King. King has Eagles in the middle, but the pass was deflected. Now the Canucks come back. Trevor Linden. Linden with a chance, moving in front. Couldn't control the puck. Knocked away at the last second. Canucks fired along the boards. Canucks able to keep the pressure on. Then it's cleared by the Jets. Ronning back into the Jets zone. Pass for Courtnall. Unable to control it. Tied up by Housley. Housley comes away with it for Winnipeg. 1 minute to play. Third period and a 3-all tie. Shot from well out. Cleared into the neutral zone by the Canucks. Numminen for the Jets off the boards. And it's only center on. Tries to get to it. Can't control it. Adams dumps it in. Numminen. Long lead pass down the right side, but there was no Jet within yards of that one. And the Winnipeg Jets will be called for icing with 30 seconds remaining to play in the third period in a 3-3 tie.
And there was no Canuck anywhere near Teppo Numminen. I don't know why he didn't try and carry that out of his own zone. Fires it down the ice, and now they've got a face-off deep. Look at Trevor Linden use his strength right here, cut to the front, but he loses control as Sergei Boughton got a piece of him. Good chance for Trevor Linden.
See the way he used that left skate to dig it in and draw himself around as he cut in front. You can only do that if you've got tremendous strength in your legs.
And he tried to protect the puck with that leg, but Boughton just kicked out and got a piece of it.
Big face-off coming to the right of Bob Essenza with 30 seconds remaining in the third period in a 3-all tie. Canucks have the big line of Adams, Semenoff, and Bure out there. Diddick and Babbage on the points, and the Jets are able to clear. Diddick behind his own net. This is Babbage. Knocked down at center ice. Bure has it for the Canucks. 10 seconds remaining to play, third period. We're tied at 3. Numminen just dumps it down the right side, and Babbage is forced to go back for it for the Canucks. The horn sounds, and regulation time is over. We are going to overtime for the first time in this series in 1993 between the Canucks and the Jets.
And you can thank those two men, Kirk McLean with the big save on Teemu Selanne, and And Bob Essenza with the big saves when the score was 3-2 to keep his team close.
And so the score through 3 periods of play here at the Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. The Canucks 3, the Jets 3.
And guys are jamming the net, so Darren Shannon's goal example.
But at the same time, Randy, you can't afford to play too conservatively in overtime.
Oh, definitely, especially when you got a team of Solani and then Alex Zamnock on your team. Our team feels that we can go out there and score a goal anytime.
I would think, Randy, if anybody appreciates the yeoman effort of the Canucks defense, how well they've played in this series, perhaps unspectacular but very steady at you, because it's in a way the kind of game you played.
Well, obviously, you know, they got some big mileage out of a guy like Dana Merz and Robert Dirk. It's good to see Dave Babbage playing well, and, you know, he's a good friend of mine, but they're the Vancouver Canucks. They're not the Winnipeg Jets.
So we know who you're pulling for, and I won't ask you who's going to score the winning goal for Vancouver in overtime, because that's a definite conflict of interest. Who might get it for the Jets?
Timo Solani.
We'll hold you to that. Your career has wound down. The Jets gave you a chance to close it out with one final appearance in a home game late in the season. You said no. Why?
Well, I hadn't played I played one game in 2.5 months, and I felt that I would probably be a detriment to myself and the team out there, and I thought at that time we still had an opportunity to catch LA for 3rd place, so I looked at it that the team had to concentrate more on what they were doing for the playoffs than worrying about myself.
Quickly, any idea what you might do next season, because we assume you're staying in the organization?
Well, we don't know. Maybe I'll take your job.
You've been watching tonight. What do you think?
Oh, no.
You can do it. Anybody who can ramble on at certain times can do it, and I think that about describes you. Randy, thanks for your time. The Stanley Cup playoffs on Molson Hockey Night in Canada and our overtime intermission from the Coliseum in Vancouver will continue in just a moment.
Hey, Canada, your Toyota dealers say exercise your options. It could be worth up to $2,000. Option number 1, pick one of these special value models. Get up to $2,000 of extra value. Option number 2, look in your newspaper for your Toyota options check and get up to $2,000 extra value.
Bure, I think that both Bure and Solani are due to come up with a big goal. Let's check the face-offs through 3 periods of play here at the Pacific Coliseum in Game 5.
You look at the 3rd period, how the Vancouver Canucks, their margin went down a little bit as the Winnipeg Jets tried to pick it up. And I think the defensive zone, offensive zone coverage, as it went in the 1st period, it was all Vancouver. They 9-3 in the 1st period, but the Winnipeg Jets in the 3rd period really came back, and it was more even, almost dead even in the 3rd period in offensive and defensive zone faceoffs.
I think one thing the Vancouver Canucks have to be very careful of, some costly turnovers in that 3rd period, something we haven't seen their defense do in the first 4 games of this series.
And the Winnipeg Jets really cut down on theirs, and they forechecked well. They were really working hard to get that equalizer, and it put some pressure on the Vancouver defense, and they haven't done that through most of the series.
Okay, we are awaiting the start of the overtime period here at the Pacific Coliseum. A 3-all tie between the Vancouver Canucks and the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets needing a win to stay alive in the series.
You know, it's not always this quiet around here. I should value these quiet moments. Join me in action every weekday.
I watch Venture on Sunday night on CBC. That program has done something that has never been done before. You know, business has always been reported either as a kind of a capital crime where all businessmen are crooks, or you have the Chamber of Commerce approach where all businessmen are saints, and neither is true. What Venture has done is turn them into human beings. That's important because business is not just about making money. Business is part of the Canadian culture.
It took years of dedication,
Every part refined and tested until it all fit.
Joe Schlesinger, CBC News.
David Halton, Washington. Accurate, finely tuned, and precise. It gained status with time until it proved to be an original.
The dawn of a new era.
A newscast you can count on. The National with Alison Smith. Now on CBC News World, Canada's cable news network. Weeknights at 10 and 11.
Welcome back to Pacific Coliseum in Vancouver. The Jets and Canucks even at 3 after the Saddle Dome, and so the Kings lead that series 3-2 and can wrap it up at the Great Western Forum in Los Angeles on Thursday evening. Here at Pacific Coliseum, the Canucks and the Jets tied at 3. Jets at 1 point down 3-1 in this game, but they've clawed their way back to force extra time, and overtime is coming up. This is the goal that tied the game for the Jets, scored by Darren Shannon. Actually, we don't have that. Yes, we do have that goal, pardon me. I misspoke myself. That was Shannon on the ice for overtime, but here he was in action in the third period, scoring the goal to force extra time at 9:05, fed by Thomas Steen, and he beat Kurt McLean. Shannon seconded the game, and so overtime is next on the agenda at Pacific Coliseum. Here's Stephen John.
Thank you, Scott. The Vancouver Canucks and the Winnipeg Jets have just returned to the ice to start this sudden death overtime period.
And you look at Bob Essens at one end, Kurt McLean at the other end, and especially for Bob Essens, if he lets one in here, go camping for the summertime, at least Kurt McLean has a chance to play again. Most pressure-packed position in any sport. Steve, I know you're saying I'm a goaltender, former goaltender, and I'm going to say that about the goalies naturally. Well, I think it is. Even in pitching in baseball, you've got those other 8 guys behind you if it goes by you, but in hockey, you're the goaltender, goes by you, the game's over.
Neither of these teams outstanding in overtime. In playoff history, the Canucks have a record of 5-9, the Winnipeg Jets 2-5. There is Arthur Griffith, one of the owners of the Vancouver Canucks. Not difficult to imagine what's going through his mind right now as the Canucks get set for overtime against the Winnipeg Jets. He knows that if his Canucks can beat the Jets tonight, they get a few days off before they start the Smythe Division final against either the LA Kings or the Calgary Flames. Or they go back to Winnipeg in Game 6 on Thursday night in the White House, the Winnipeg Arena.
And it was snowing a little bit when we left Winnipeg yesterday, Steve, and they say the weather is supposed to go up to plus 17. So it should be much nicer. Should we have to go back to Winnipeg tomorrow?
It was amazing when we landed in Winnipeg the other day for Game 3. Nice and warm, but by the time Game 3 got underway, it was quite chilly and stayed that way. Overtime is underway here at the Pacific Coliseum for the first time in this series between the Winnipeg Jets and the Canucks. And it's Pavel Bure who comes ahead. Pass to Adams, shot and saved by Essens. Cleared in front. And Didick unable to get the shot away. Babbage with the shot through the crease. Canucks applying early pressure in the overtime session. Semenov at the point, fires it in. Adams digging for it. Housley behind his own net. Didick in the neutral zone. Opening seconds of the overtime, and the Canucks had the first real good opportunity. Boughton plays it ahead into the zone. And the fans begin to chant here at the Pacific Coliseum. This is King. Dumps it in. And Babbage touches it for the Canucks. Plays it to Didick. Ahead to Cliff Ronning. Ronning with Bure. And Courtnall. First time shot goes off the skate of King.
Jets almost played too defensively here to start this overtime. 4 Jets back on that play. They all backed into the hash marks and gave Lume the shot from the point.
We talked about momentum swinging in favor of the Jets. The Canucks making their own momentum in this overtime session. This is Ronning. Shot from Trevor Linden, deflected in front. The Jets come back. They have yet to have a good shot on Kirk McLean in this overtime session. Merzen. Pass on the right side, cleared back in by the Jets. Off the glass. Boughton golfs it back in. Merzen behind his own net. Ty Domi goes for it and falls down in the process. This is Courtnall, one-on-one against Housley. Courtnall passes, intercepted by Sergei Boughton to Ty Domi. Domi just wheels and fires it down the ice. Kirk McLean plays it for Doug Lidster. 17:40 remaining in the first overtime period here at the Pacific Coliseum. Chance for Babbage! Babbage shot is wide. It may have been deflected that way by Bob Essenza. Kachuk. This is Mike Lawler inside his own blue line to Teppo Numminen.
Dave Babbage jumped up into the play, quite similar to what Phil Housley does. The Jets not expecting it. Great chance for Dave Babbage.
Shot in by Dana Merzen. Essenza comes out to control it behind his own goal. Leaves it for Teppo Numminen. Numminen just shoots it in. McLean has to come out and play. Leaves it for Craven. Craven ahead to Gary Vaughn. Vaughn off the boards down the left side. Housley. Rink wide to Teppo Numminen. Being watched by Hunter. This is Darren Shannon. 2 goals for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. McLean to Jyrki Lumme. Lumme up to Adams. Adams ahead to Anatoly Semenov. And that's offside at the Jets blue line. Semenov was in too deep. 16:25 remaining to play in the first overtime period here at the Pacific Coliseum.
It was Kirk McLean in the third period. Now here in the overtime, it's Bob Essenza coming up with the big saves. Now watch Essenza right here on Greg Adams. Slide across, stack the pads, and just get his toe on it. And Dave Babbage, who has scored a couple of goals on Essenza through the legs, tries to go short side, and Essenza got a little piece of it. Babbage missed the net.
That first save off of Adams coming in the opening seconds of the overtime period. Trevor Linden into Ronnie. Courtnall. Courtnall goes behind the Winnipeg goal, plays it for Ronnie. Ronnie wheeling. Eagles doing a good job on Ronnie. Lidster keeps it in. Housley forced to go behind his own goal. Ronnie plays it off the end boards. Housley there for the Jets. Long lead pass. And Gerald Diddick get to it for Vancouver, being watched by Chris King. Diddick back to Doug Lidster. 15:43 to play. First overtime period. Ronning just a whirling dervish out there for the Canucks. Mike Lawler at center. Long shot off the glass. Taychuk there. Now Greg Adams trying to find Semenov in the middle of the pass. Teppo Numminen just dumps it in. Gerald Diddick off the glass. Chuck had to duck to miss that one. Diddick trying to find Semenov. Bure, 1-on-1 against Lawler. Bure pulled down as he went to get the shot away. Fans calling for a penalty, but none coming from referee Bill McCreary.
And Bill McCreary really stopped calling penalties in the third period. Only one.
Semenov. Shot blocked. Lumme firing it in. Semenov giving chase. This is Babbage. Shot and a good block there by Ty Domi. Sacrificing his body to block the shot. Lawler. Looking for Keith Kachuk with the pass. Canucks managed to intercept. And now Teppo Numminen. Goes off the stick of Vaughn. Lines up on the stick of Babbage. Fires it into the neutral zone. Here's Lawler at the Canucks blue line. Takes the shot. Passes in front, and McLean gloves it, hangs on. So the face-off will be to the right of Kirk McLean in the Canucks zone.
Canucks forcing the issue here in overtime. Had a couple of chances that the Jets blocked. Now watch Mike Lawler on Anatoly Semenov right here. Lawler goes down. He's a defenseman. He knows how to block shots. Ty Domi on the other side almost got it right in the head. Watch Ty Domi, how he blocks the shot. Head first. Got it high in the shoulders. Same result. Both shots blocked.
What I want to know is, are you going to be the one to tell Ty Domi that he doesn't know how to block shots?
I think he'll admit to it after that one.
Face-off to the right of Kirk McLean. We're in overtime. Tied at 3 here at the Pacific Coliseum. This is Gary Vonk for the Canucks at center. Vonk takes it in on the left side. Shannon around the boards to Olsen. Olsen ahead to Thomas Steen. Jets unable to control. Vonk backhands it in. This is Teemu Selanne. Gets around Merzen. One hands the pass in front. Passes in front again. They score! The Jets win it in overtime. They stay alive.
And I don't know whether they're going to give this to Darren Shannon for the hat trick. Teemu Selanne threw it out in front, and Darren Shannon going to the net. And it might be Darren Shannon's hat trick goal.
Like so many of the goals we've seen tonight, not a clear-cut, straight-ahead type of goal, but one that you might have expected, as Randy Carlyle suggested it might be.
What a pretty goal. What a pretty move, Teemu Selanne on Dana Merzen. Right here on Dana Merzen. And Selanne, his strength, we've talked about it before, goes once, goes twice. Now look at Darren Shannon going to the net. Bounces off 2 or 3 guys. And I think Selanne's going to get credit. It looks like the Canucks banged it in. But it's Shannon going to the net.
So the final score here at the Pacific Coliseum in overtime. The Jets stay alive with a 4-3 win over the Canucks.
Phil Housley is star number 2, and Teemu Selanne with the overtime winner is the 3rd star. The Jets force at least a 6th game in this series with an overtime victory here in Vancouver tonight, 4-3 the final. Teemu Selanne the hero. Tomorrow night, the Battle of Quebec continues on Molson Hockey Night in Canada, Game 6 of the Montreal-Quebec series. Thanks for watching, and good night.
There's a place, they say spirits still whisper.
Hey, pal, the past is past, but the future is now. The Stanley Cup playoffs come alive on Fox. Who's gonna take home that awesome prize? What happened to the blue-shirt bullies? They're down 2-zip and skating on the Habs' hostile ice, where the Rangers have gone 120-3 since '83. But is shelter just a shot away? Montreal is home to Vincent Van Gogh, who's been nothing but artistry on ice. Calgary hasn't seen the second round since '89, but goodness gracious, they want to shake the Hawks' nerves and rattle their brains, baby, with great bowls of flurry. Yo, Theo, watch out. JR's back and packing a punch. His Hawks plan to extinguish the flames and bring the cup home lakeside. It's been 41 years and Detroit's loaded top to bottom. Will Dino be back to warm the crowd for the Fab Five? And those Winnipeg guys, they may have to pack their bags for their new home just a little early, you know. But wait, ka-chook, it's a tie in Tampa, but hey, these are the Super Flyers. Lightning ain't made with kryptonite. You can fool Eric once, but don't you dare try it twice. And what makes lightning dangerous? It's not the bolts, it's the amps that get you. And in the playoffs, death comes suddenly. It's